paper that you've made now, you're going to replicate something that looks like this on your pattern paper. So you spread out your pattern paper. Instead of going directly on your fabric, this time you just want to do it on the fabric itself, right? So you lay it on this, on the paper. So guys, this is it here. Like I said, trace this out on a paper and then draw out what the pattern looks like. So now that I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. Now when I cut it out, I'll show you guys the how you're going to do this second method. So guys, you see now I've marked it, and I made sure to mark the center, to mark where the notch of the the tip of the shoulder will be. So now that I've done that, I'm going to fold this into two, right? Fold it into two. Like I said, guys, everything in mine might not be perfect, but just go along with it. You understand what I'm trying to say, because this here is not really like I'm attaching it to a cloth. It's just to make a miniature version and show you guys what it's supposed to look like. So guys, this second method now, once you draw out everything on your pattern, what you're going to do is to go ahead at this edge here. Like, you're going to draw out this pattern on the length of the sleeve you want to work with, right? The main whatever the longest length of that sleeve is going to be is what you're going to use as the length of the pattern. And then you're going to go to this edge now, and what you're going to insert on this edge exactly is the length of the sleeve you're working with, right? So how many layers you're working with. So let's say you're working with 4 layers, you're going to go ahead and split everything into 4. So let's say maybe you decide to do it to 2 inches each of them. So guys, mine is like about 17 inches. So you're just going to find the center of that, which is about 8.5, and then split the other one into 2. 8.5 divided by 2 somewhere here, 8.5 divided by 2 somewhere here. Sorry, somewhere here. So guys, you just understand what I'm trying to say. Just split this. Let's say you get about 8 here on the length you have here. You just split it into 4, or how many layers you want it to be. Just split it equally, right? Or anyhow you want to split it. And then coming to this side, the same thing. Whatever length you have here, you're going to split it equally depending on how many layers you have. As long as you decided to make it 4 layers, you're going to split this layer, whatever measurement you have here, into that 4 layers, and whatever measurement you have here into that 4 layers. So down here I have about 25. So it depends on you how you're going to split the 25 into 4 layers, because it's 4 layers that I want to work with. So I'm just going to eyeball everything and mark it. So you see, I've marked it 1, 2, 3. So it depends on you how you want to mark yours. And then after that, you're going to take a curved ruler or something, and now you're going to start to mark, connect each line to the other one, right? So if this is going to be my first layer, I'm going to connect it to the first dot on this side. So I have my first sleeve layer. This is what the top part of my sleeve would look like. Then I have my second sleeve layer. Wherever that is, you're going to connect from this side of the second and to this side of the second. You connect it. On this line, you're going to connect this side of the third to this side of the third. You understand what I'm saying? Like the third line, let's say you mark number 1 here, number 1 here, number 2 here, number 2 here, number 3 here, number 3 here, and then number 4 here, number 4 here, which is obviously the edge of the sleeve. So what you're going to do now is, once you've done this like this, you're going to go, guys, try not to make yours straight, because I'm looking at this now, mine is looking straight. So try to give it a curve so that it will have the same curve as the edge. So you might want to use like a better curve ruler, or like, I don't know, just give it a curve. Maybe after doing it with a straight line like this, you might just go in and just give it a curve, or you can stick to this one. Is still okay. So now the next thing we are going to do is, first we're going to cut our first layer, which is the 4th one, using this full length. So I'm just going to go to my fabric, take it this way, cut my first 4th layer, right? Which might look something like this. My first layer, cut this full circle this way. You see, cut this way. Cut this way, right? Full circle, full shape of this my pattern paper. After that, I have my first layer. Now I can go back in and chip off the 4th layer. Guys, as you're doing this, bear in mind you need to have your seam allowance, right? You need to have the seam allowance added already. So now that you've done that, you're going to go again. Take your pattern paper, go back in now and cut the 3rd layer, right? Using this pattern paper now, I'm going to take it back in, cut my 3rd layer, which should look something like this, depending on the So you're going to take it now, go back and cut the third layer. Now I have my third layer done. After that, I'm going to go back in again and chip off the third layer because I already have third layer. I'm going to now take my sleeve again and cut my second layer, right? If that makes sense, guys. Anyone that is easy for you, but I feel like maybe this second one will be better for somebody that can't keep their hands straight and mark like 3 inches above like this, and calculate like 3 inches to get that curve. In that first method, you can just draw out everything on your pattern paper already and just keep on chipping it off as you're going. So you see, that's like you're going to cut another one now. This is the second layer, so this one is done. It's going to be on top. So after that, the next thing is to cut out my final layer. Guys, you know, as I'm cutting this thing, you guys know that as I'm cutting it, I'm not just cutting the bottom, right? I hope you guys understand that it's just because I've already used this paper before. But for each layer I cut, let's say this was still together, for each layer I cut, I'm cutting even the top and the bottom. You understand, right? So it's not just that I'm cutting it and removing the bottom. No, for when I cut this layer 2 now, remember, it's just because I've used this cloth before, but as I'm cutting it, I'm cutting, but it's just because this top part was cut before. But what I was cutting here is just exactly what this paper looked like before it was split into 2. And then when I cut layer 3, I was cutting exactly what it looks like as a full sleeve like this, not just cut the bottom and have a strip like this. All these ones are going to the garbage because it's not part of our sleeve, right? So now we have layer 2. So the final layer will look something like this. Like I said before, I already cut this out in the first. I'm using just the same fabric. So you see, this second one now, you're going to just cut the top. Like, because if I've not cut this before, what I would have cut now is, after that, I'm going to still put in my hand this way and cut out the top. So once that is done, you're going to place everything. So we have our 4th layer, which is the biggest one, inside of this one, making sure that all the edges are notched, right? And then now you're going to cover this one this way, and then you're going to place the next one, wrap it around it this way, wrap it around it this way. You have the second sleeve, and then you're going to have the uppermost one, which is this one at the top, like this. So guys, you see, these are 2 methods of making this sleeve. You see. So this one here is like if you're trying to make that excessive layered one and you have enough fabric for it. Guys, if you're making this as an off shoulder, let me show you guys something, because I know somebody might be making it as an off shoulder, right? If you're making it as an off shoulder, just know that what you're going to do, let me fold this into 2 so you guys would see. It's just that the same pattern, but remember, sometimes your off shoulder, you might decide to cut off. It's not even you might decide. Most times you remove 4 inches at the top, right? Because of maybe the length of where the shoulder starts on the top of your hand is normally like 4 inches lower, or like, let's say 5 inches lower. So whatever it is, remember to come down here and then mark that. So let's say this is where my off shoulder starts. So that means when I'm splitting when I'm splitting this pattern, sorry guys, when I'm splitting this pattern, I'm just going to stop somewhere here. Like, remember, this is still a pattern paper, and when I drew my off shoulder, it looks something like this. Let me fold it away, because if I cut it, it will scatter because it's already separated. But remember, this is what an off shoulder would normally look like, right? This is what an off shoulder would normally look like. So when I'm splitting it, if I'm making an off shoulder, I will only split to where, just exactly the same thing. I'm going to split up to this point, stop. Split up to this point, stop. Just so that I can be able to open it wide. It's just that the top part will not have my cap height, which is the top of my shoulder on the normal bodies. So I hope you guys understood everything I said. I tried my best to explain it, guys. And I'll see you guys in my next video where I explain a different type of this flounce sleeve. So thank you guys so much for your time, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.